All right, Rebecca. So there's some controversy about your bisexuality.
Yeah, I'm not bi enough for Bert Show fam.
You're like 75% straight, 25% les, and like the pie chart that would be your queerness.
They're like not happy with the ratio.
See, the weird thing is I see your hair and it immediately says not 100% straight to me.
Yeah, see,
It's too cool.
In fact, I look at your hair and I go 100% gay.
I know. Usually I go out and I'm like, the straight men don't want me because they look at me and I think they think I'm gay. So I don't know what the problem is. I'm getting it from both sides, it seems like.
Isn't that what you want?
Yeah.
Look at you. All right, so where is this controversy starting from?
So we did plead the fifth with the youth group members, and as the resident bisexual, I got the bisexual question where I confessed that I have had raunchy dreams about members of the Bert Show. Hello, Kristen.
Hello, Rebecca. It's
Looking
always good to
lovely
see you.
today. And then after that segment, a listener had listened, and she sent me a message that said, Rebecca, you say you're bisexual, but seem to make no efforts to date women. Are men your preference?
Now, we also need to, and if you're listening to this, you're probably a P1, so you probably heard the segment, but you also had mentioned in the same breath that you did have a dream about Romeo, who's a dude.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, God. I thought you had good taste, but now it just ain't.
Now we're just confused.
That's a really rude question.
It was rude. It's not the worst I've ever gotten because as a bisexual person, people throw a lot of things at you. They have a lot of questions. Sometimes it can come off very accusatory.
Yeah.
So I see the genuine question in this, but it did make me feel like I have to defend myself and
you
my
shouldn't.
queerness. Yeah.
Did you look up the person that made this comment?
It was actually anonymous because it came through the portal where we get our questions for Plead the Fifth.
So I was going to say, generally, I think that this is an older person's opinion. When I say older person, I'm talking about people my age.
I just don't understand.
I mean, I think that when people my age grew up, it was either you're gay or you're not gay. And I've said this before on the show as well, and it's true for me. But these were just guys that I'm talking about. The men in my life that told me that they were bisexual across the board at some point said that they were gay. Mm-hmm. And they weren't ready to accept it yet. So they were either sane or still, I don't want to get crossed up in words, but still experimenting with both. But they really kind of knew in their heart they were gay. So I think people my age, when we hear bisexual, if you're not a critical thinker or progressive, then you're like, oh, that's just a stepping stone to gay.
No, it's hard because it is a stepping stone for a lot of people. A lot of people who are not comfortable being fully gay or coming out completely and saying, okay, yes, I am gay, will say that they're bisexual for a while just to kind of like ease into it.
But what this question insinuates is that you're actually straight.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just posing as a bisexual because you find like you find the woman form attractive, but it doesn't mean like you're actually looking for a female companionship, which I feel is pointed in as rude.
And and before you even answer it, the whole conversation kind of makes me uncomfortable because you shouldn't have to defend who you are either way. Mm-hmm. So I don't give a shit what a listener thinks as far as your sexuality goes. You know, I saw this a couple of weeks ago. And then I'll just let it lie. When it comes to comments online or from some listeners that are negative, here's how this is all going to go down when we die. Chances are pretty good that somebody's going to be sitting around and they're going to say to their partner, hey, I remember you used to listen to the Bert Show. Did you hear that Bert passed away? And she might go, oh, that's really sad for his kids. Hey, how was the rest of your day? It's going to be like that, right? So why would we ever take any kind of credibility at all for somebody that doesn't know us, somebody that doesn't care about us, somebody that's making judgments based on a couple of facts and crumbs here or there? Don't listen to it at all. It's not important.
No, I agree. It really doesn't affect me. I do know that when they dig up my bones, they're going to say that was a bisexual. Because I'll be wearing cuffed jeans. But I feel like this is such a good opportunity to kind of talk about bisexuality and how many variables and variations of being bisexual there are. Because first of all, this person asks, you make no efforts to date women. I don't know why they're assuming that. I'm trying.
That's a lie. Yeah, I've seen you try. You're trying really hard.
I'm trying, and they just don't want me. I don't know why I am so unappealing to women, but they don't want me. I've been really, I tried on Hinge. I messaged, I matched, I tried to make it work. And then I found a man, which is very stereotypically bisexual woman. But the second question, are men your preference? The answer is yes. Men are my preference. And I don't know if that's because I was just raised in a heteronormative society or if just naturally that's just kind of what I prefer. Because I've always said that for me personally, I have always been attracted sexually and romantically to men. But with women, it's mostly just sexual attraction. Like, I've never had a girlfriend. I've never been on a date with a woman. Could I end up with a woman? I absolutely think so. Would I be surprised if I did? I would be kind of surprised.
So are you basing your own self-label on one or two experiences that you have had with women?
My clam diving experiences in college, yes. You have to go back.
Not the way I phrased it.
No, I've had flings. I've had crushes. I know that I am attracted to women. I just don't feel like it's a split 50-50, which I think a lot of people, when they hear bisexual, I mean bi, you think it's 50-50. For me personally, it's a lot more fluid. It can change sometimes. Sometimes I feel super duper gay. Sometimes I'm like, am I straight? It really changes based on, I don't know, the weather.
Isn't it kind of though? A lot of experts say that sexuality is a scale, like the Kinsey scale. So you might be super 100% straight and like never look at the opposite sex, or you might be a little curious, but that doesn't mean you want to like go have a full-on romantic life marriage with that sex. It just means like, hey, I'm kind of sexually attracted to you. Or if I don't want to admit it to myself, that's how it is. And so just because you might lean preference towards men doesn't mean you're not attracted to women. People just want to label things, I think, and they want this black and white answer for things they don't understand. And that's not how life works.
I consider myself heterosexual. But when that Aiden Turner dude walked in the studio, I was like, man.
Something moved?
Yeah, I'm like, if I got to make out with a dude, it's going to be that dude.
No, I'm surprised he didn't slip on his way out of here. This entire studio was moist.
The whole studio was bisexual for a day.
I just wonder, like, because I think it's so ridiculous that people challenge you in this way and people care and you don't have to prove anything to anybody. But it just makes me wonder for people who feel this way, like, what exactly do they want you to do? What is the test? How are you supposed to prove this to them?
I'm curious if it came from somebody that is gay, a woman that is gay, that gets offended by women that call themselves either bisexual or gay when they're not living the same lifestyle. Maybe have a wife and are 100% lesbian. I wonder if it came from that.
There are a lot of queer people who do not accept bisexual people under the LGBT umbrella. They just assume either if you're a man that you're going to be gay, if you're a woman, you're just going to end up with a man, you're pretending, you're seeking attention. I love attention, but I also like women. So it is interesting because it comes from both sides. It comes from like older people, like you said, who don't really understand the spectrum of sexuality. And then it comes from like gay women who don't want to date a bisexual woman because the stereotype is that you don't actually like women.
For those that are, for lack of a better word, like entrenched in the LGBTQ community. So we're talking about lesbians, we're talking about gay men, we're talking about, trans. Because they are so subjected to homophobia and bigotry, and they have to experience that on a daily, they feel like, oh, you just get to claim the LGBTQ community, but you don't have to go through the hardships we do?
That's a big piece of
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
Because as a bisexual woman, if I'm dating a man, I am not subject to those prejudices. You know, I am not going to be hate crimed. I'm a bisexual woman still, but I'm in a relationship that I will be safe walking outside holding hands with someone.
Yeah.
So somebody's pain, they have to inflict it on you because they felt that pain. Which to me, the whole conversation, I'm trying not to get emotional about it, but it's infuriating to me because for a community that does feel so judged, and there is so much hatred that is geared towards it, that you would think that those in the community, it doesn't matter if you're a 10 gay or a 1 gay, you have been discriminated against. So you would think that you would embrace each other no matter where you are on your gay scale.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much infighting in the LGBT community. And obviously, we should be coming together and fighting the real fight, which is skinny jeans. but unfortunately, we have bigger fish to fry. And it's if bisexual women are actually bisexual. And I'm telling you, I am. Cuffed jeans, matcha lattes, peace sign, every photo.
Every photo.
Every single photo. If you don't see me with a peace sign.
Do you think the dude that you are seeing right now feels a little bit insecure about your bisexuality label?
Not based on the rumors I've heard.
I don't think so. We talked about it briefly, and I kind of said the same thing to him where I was like, I've never been on a date with a woman. I've had flings, but I've never been romantically involved. I always kind of thought that a man would be my end game. I think I was kind of really saying that because I liked him and I wanted him to be that sucks to say. I'm downplaying my bisexuality to make myself seem more appealing. But no, he's totally cool with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's awesome.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. I hope that was gay enough for you guys.
It's pretty gay.
You paid for that.
Gay.
The Bert Show.